From the Watergate building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now here are Hotline editors Amy Walter and John Mercurio.
Welcome to Hotline Horror TV, everybody. I'm John the Monster Mercurio.
You sound a little bit like that Vincent Price from the Brady Bunch episode. I'm Amy Walter. All right, last night's Democratic debate saw some pretty spooky things.
Indeed.
The hills have eyes. Clinton took a slashing. Let's see who got the treats. You know, when you got those Snickers bars and the Three Musketeers, and who got stuck getting the raisins.
Right.
All right, so you want to start off?
Yeah, I mean, look,
What
there's
is that?
no way to slice this, I think, other than even the Clinton campaign is, you like
Nice.
that?
Yeah, it's good.
Is admitting this was not her best debate performance. They're trying to spin this, and so look, she took a slashing, and she's still standing. But look, that's their spin. The reality is this is the first time that you saw a really aggressive field of candidates trying to take her down. You had Edwards, of course, really standing out. Obama not living up to the expectation. I think the big winner of the night, of course, John Edwards. The big loser, sort of a tie between Obama and Clinton. Obama because this is probably his last chance, and Clinton because it's at least the opening that other Democrats were looking for. They've now got 2 months to really change the landscape. But it was the opening that they were looking for. They got it. On the key issue that they've been trying, that Edwards and Dodd to some extent have really been trying to hit, which is that she's evasive, she's obfuscates issues, and she's never going to give you the direct answer that you need, and she'll never be able to turn the page, from this partisan political environment we have. It was a shift, probably more so than I've seen so far in the campaign.
It was.
It was a shift in the debate, which I think, frankly, we're all excited
to see something happen.
see
Now,
something on
the
the
question
Democratic
is, who can take advantage of this, right? And the fact is, what Hillary Clinton has been able to do quite well on the campaign trail is to blur those differences. And the fact is, on so many issues, there aren't many differences.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
the
that's the
Iran
reason.
issue is the one that has stood out. But beyond that, even on Social Security, it's unclear. Obama comes out and says she's obfuscating. Well, you had changed your position too from the time you had started.
Sure.
Nobody else wants. So I think that it is clear that there was that opportunity. But I think also if you're a Democratic primary voter, here's what you want. You definitely are looking to see, right, what are the charges that you know they're going to use against Hillary Clinton. If you don't particularly like her, you don't want to vote for her, one thing you're worried about is they're going to catch her on this. She's just a politician. She says what you want to hear. So I think you're right. John Edwards did the best job of coming out directly and saying, here are the clear-cut differences between the two of us. I'll say this one thing. Obama didn't do that as well. The second, though, is that they both have to prove that they can take the punches and live up to what they know, what Democratic primary voters expect to be a bloody general election. And at this point, they looked like they could finally, at least John Edwards did, throw some punches.
The problem, though, is that you say, okay, here's the shifting debate, here's the new landscape. Hillary suddenly looking a little more vulnerable on the case that Edwards and Obama have been trying to make against her for the past several months. If that's the case, if you start seeing Obama and Edwards actually building their support on a national basis, really competing with her in Iowa and starting to compete to make a race out of New Hampshire, you're going to see the Clinton campaign hit back. And that's something you haven't seen so far. She's been the front runner. She's been 20 or 30 points
and
ahead.
she's been able to do that.
She hasn't needed
Right.
to go on the attack against these guys. Once this race starts to tighten up, you'll see an entirely different sort of chapter or an entirely different face of the Clinton campaign. Not so much of the candidate, but of the campaign. And I leave it to those guys who so far have run a very disciplined campaign to also run a very disciplined negative campaign against Edwards and Obama, if need be.
But the one thing she's been able to do and has been able to silence the critics who say she's too polarizing, she can't win a general election. They say, look, her positives have actually been rising through the course of this campaign, even as she's gotten beaten up. And part of the reason, as you said, is that she hasn't had to put the hammer down. Two, she's been able to redirect it to make it about Bush and Republicans, never to make it about her opponents. Should she do that, those negatives could come back up again. That is something of a risk to take when you already know that part of your argument is that you've been actually gaining support and gaining positives rather than losing them.
Big winner, I think the big Snickers bars went to John Edwards.
Yeah.
The raisins and the stale apples to Barack Obama. A bad night. He missed every opportunity. Even the driver's license question had to be saved for him by John Edwards. Bad night for Barack Obama.
There we go. But it's time for us to expire. We'll see you tomorrow.
If you make it through the night.